Right, I'm just finished for the day, so I'm going to put this on the beginning of this video to just show you some context. So the video you're about to watch is me doing some tiling. Now, if you didn't watch the video that sort of precedes why I'm doing this tiling, this video will mean nothing to you, and you'll just watch me doing probably the worst tiling job you've ever seen with the most weirdest tiles you've ever seen. So to anyone that's just joined or is just starting to watch this video, I'll put a link to the previous video at the end of this video, so you may want to go back and watch that first, because then this will make more sense to you. But I just don't want people to start watching this video, see me putting these tiles on the wall and thinking, my God, this bloke's rough. You'd be half right, but this was, this was like a bit of an exceptional job. So anyway, I won't go through it all, because those who have watched it know exactly what I'm talking about. So anyway, enjoy the video and watch the last one first, and it'll explain everything. Oh, it's cold out there. I've had to put my big coat on again. I've just knocked on Andrew's door. His little back door's unlocked, so I've sort of tapped on it and had a look in and waited 10 minutes. Then I've gone again, gone in the door, calling out his name. There's no answer, but there's two other doors that you go through into the passage and what would lead into the bedroom. I don't just want to go through, I want to give him his dignity, at least. I'm hoping he's awake, and he's just probably just taking a little bit of time, because obviously it takes him a while to get ready and get into his wheelchair and that. So I'm just going to hang about here for a few more minutes, really, and if he doesn't come out, what's the time now? It's 8:10 now, so I'll give him a bit of time. If I don't see anything of him by 8:30, I'll go and knock on them inner doors, I think, and wake him up, and hopefully he's all right. It's a laser level, that one.
Oh.
Yeah, just so I can get
That's clever, isn't it?
yeah, so it fires a line all round. Well, it's across your feet now as well. It goes all round, and then it just gives me a dead straight line.
Yeah.
Now I can work off that. So this
Very clever.
big one, Andrew, I'm going to put it there. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
So if that goes there, and I can just work off of that as a base then.
Yeah. Look, I just want to show you these two. Do you remember those two tiles I showed you?
Yeah.
Can we get those in here? I'll just go and get them. Hang on.
Yep.
Give me 5 minutes.
No problem. These are quite nice, Andrew. These little ones, aren't they?
Actually, I decided not to put those up anyway.
Right, so that's where we're going. We're going to have this big tile up against that wall, and then we're just going to work off that. So setting up the laser, I'm going to screw a batten to that wall there, just to that line, and then work off that line, because this floor runs uphill. So I'm just going to work off that, and then once I fitted the tiles above that, then I'll work down and cut anything I need to cut. So I just want to come off that so I can crack on and get up off that batten. You'll see in a minute. I'll put it up now. There we go, we've got that. So I'll stick that to the wall, and then we can start working off of this batten then. Start coming up with these tiles. So I'm going to be using this wall and floor tile adhesive. It's got everything you need, a bit flexible, and it's also white. And when I go out with white, I tend to try and use white adhesive, then you don't get no sort of bleed through from the grating lines if the adhesive squeezes out a little bit more than it needs to.
Do we need to put anything in between them, Carl?
I'll be grouting them.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll grout them all up for you. I've just got white grout, is that okay? I just picked up white. I thought it would, I don't know, it might sort of give the tiles a nice bit of separation if it's white. It's just standard stuff, you know, really, but I don't know if
do they do any green work?
You can get any colour you want, yeah. Yeah.
What do you think then?
Totally up to you, really.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, well, can I buy some?
Yeah, I can get it for you.
Okay.
It's not a problem, or
Yeah.
I'm sure I can find it somewhere.
But the question, if you challenge that, where is the classic example? Where in art history do you find this extended monotone interface? Because I don't know of anywhere else in the genre, in the history, where you find this. So the idea appeals to me to keep it monotone.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. It stands out as a piece.
Yeah.
See. That's the point. Yeah, I think that's more or less it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a little bit interesting.
Because most people want, you know, colours and things like that. So it's nice to do something.
Well,
different.
you can have it. Yeah, you can have composite. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
You can try pastel, but I don't really like the. It's not the nativity. It's the what's it called? The pastel colours are all you know, sort of embedded with the theme of the Last Supper. I'm not entirely sure I like the theme. It's dominated the Christianity for 2,000 years, but introducing of new colours and new modelling of colour in Europe, say in the 19th century, quite a lot of this Renaissance passion stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't, personally, I wasn't all excited about that.
What's one about there? And they're different thicknesses as well. So. Would you believe I wanted 2 cuts and that's exactly half? Things are looking up. Right, progress reporting here. I'm getting on alright. Andrew has gone down a pub. Why not? There's a little pub up the road. He just wheels himself up there and he's in there. What a dream, eh? Well, you know, for him. At least he hasn't got to stay home. A few more cuts to do. I've not got a lot of tiles left, so I should have enough to get me into that corner, and I'm just going to cut that tile now just as we speak, get that one in, and then hopefully I've got enough just to get down to there. Right, it's all on. It looks absolutely terrible. All these tiles are a little bit different sizes, different lengths. So I've just literally just done what I needed to do. I did promise him I couldn't make it anything, and I kept my promise there, didn't I? But I'm just going to have a good clear up and have a good clean up of the face of the tiles, and hopefully it'll look a bit better. Right, that is that done for today. Andrew's still down the pub, so I really have no idea what state he's going to come back in, and I don't want to be around when he does come back, to be honest. I don't want to see unpredictable behaviour. It's just coming up to 10 to 2 now, and I'm away from there. Andrew is still down a pub, and I've no idea what he will be like when he gets back, and I don't like being around unpredictable people when I've had a drink. It's just, I know can't hurt me, he's in a wheelchair, but I just don't like unpredictability of that. It makes me on edge. You know, you're pacifying them people, then you're babysitting them because you're trying to keep them below like a line where they might get angry and stuff like that. So yeah, I've decided just to leave there, not let him know I'm going, just in case he had changed into something else, because I've been in that situation before. A few years ago, I got a job. It was through a customer of mine, a good customer of mine. He works for a bank. He worked in the banking world, and one of his colleagues, a girl, was going to move in with her boyfriend, but the boyfriend's house hadn't been done up for a long while, and she just wanted it a little bit more sort of, you know, up to date before she moved in with him. So I went round to look at this job, and it was in sort of like Chinkford, like Hyams Park, that sort of way, so just on the edge of East London really. And I went to look at this job, and the bloke was there, like the boyfriend, whose house it was, or flat it was, I think it was a ground floor flat. And when I met him, I thought, this is a very strange man. He was talking to me, he seemed quite pleasant, but he's talking to me, and as he's talking to me, this is no word of a lie, he rolled up his sleeves and he started tensing his muscles in front of me. And I was like laughing, and I just thought, well, he's a character, you know, he's a bit of a laugh. And anyway, looked at the job. I said, okay, I'll give a price out. And he said, yeah, okay, mate. So off I went. Anyway, went there to start the job a couple of weeks later, whatever. And the man that opened the door to me was a completely different man to the man that had let me in to look at the job. He was very deep, very sort of, not aggressive, but again, unpredictable. I didn't know who this man was, because I'm thinking, this is not the bloke that I sort of saw. And then I soon realised that he was an alcoholic, and he was a paranoid schizophrenic. He was telling me stories of people were after him for money. He had a friend who was his bodyguard, who was a boxer, great big black fellow who was a boxer. This is what he told me, it wasn't true. So he told me he's got a friend, great big black boxer, who's his bodyguard. He said, but people owe me money. He said, but he will look out for me. He said, but if the people that owe me money turn up on my front door, he said, get out of the way. He said, because they'll kill you to get to me. So I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck have I got involved in here? Because I didn't realise then he was a liar. I hadn't worked it out then. And he said to me, I've got a gun in my bedroom. He said, just in case they do burst in. So now I'm thinking, okay, this is getting like even weirder now. And on his bookshelf, he did have some books. I think it was like all about boxing and like London gangsters and all that. And I thought, oh, he's obviously involved in the criminal underworld a bit here. So he kept going to his bedroom and saying, I'm going to have a little sleep. Now, I didn't know what he was doing in his bedroom. He was probably necking like little whiskies and brandies. But at this time, I'm thinking he's got a gun in his bedroom. He might come out of that bedroom and have like a paranoid episode. And he might think, who am I in there? Am I a stranger? Am I after him for his money? And he might fucking shoot me or something like that. Anyway, obviously, he never had a gun in his room. He was just very, very unpredictable, and he would blow hot and cold. 1 minute he's all friendly, next minute he'd say, all right, I want you out of my house. Go and pack up, fuck off out of my house. And I was like, Tom, no, it's all right, it's me. Just don't worry, because he was obviously like hallucinating, or he was just having these episodes. So not only are you trying to do your work, you're trying to pacify this person, almost like a babysitter for him. It was absolutely horrendous. I ended up getting a mate in with me just to help me out, because I didn't like being there on my own, just in case something did happen. He took a bit of a dislike to my mate. He seemed to only trust me in the house by the end of it. I think it was about 4 or 5 days work, but by the end of it he trusted me. He even made me help him across the road so he could go to the off licence and get a drink. He didn't need help, but he would turn into this frail person, you know, so I really need help across the road, and he'd go out and he would grab your arm, you know, like help him across the road like an old lady. But he didn't need it. He was just playing all the time. Everything he did was a little bit of a game. He was chucking money at me. He was giving me bundles of money. Yeah, here's the money for the job. And I said, no, your girlfriend's going to pay me when it's done. Don't worry about the money. Take it. I want you to take it. So I had to take the money and then ring his girlfriend up and say, look, he's giving me all this money. He won't take no for an answer. What do I do with it? So obviously I hid it somewhere where she could find it. And if truth be known, I think she was only there for him for the money, because when I sort of looked at him and then looked at her, I thought to myself, how is this even a relationship? This geezer's got no capacity to form any sort of meaningful relationship, but he was on his own. and I think he was quite vulnerable, really, because he did say to me a few times, he said, she's only after me for my money, she's only after me, but watch out, he said, I'll fuck her up, she won't get none of it, don't worry. So I was in the middle of all that. Anyway, I got the job done. It was very unpredictable. It was 4 or 5 days of my life that I absolutely hated, because I was on edge all the time. I didn't know what I was walking into. And in the end, I think he got COVID and he died, poor sod. He wasn't that much older than me, really. And as far as I'm aware, his backstory was he was very high up in the passport office. He used to work in Peterborough in the passport office. And I think he had a very high pressure job, quite a high paying job. Then obviously the drink got the better of him, and he turned into that. So yeah, quite a sad story, really. He was like a man that obviously needed help, but I don't think he had anyone around him to give him help. And I can be quite sort of like sympathetic to them people, and they latch on to me. You know, I will listen to people and I will talk to people as far as I think I'm safe doing it. You know, so people like that tend to latch on to me, and they see me as a sympathetic ear. But yeah, poor sod, you know, he had a bit of a sort of sad life, really, but just brings me back to old matey there, old Andrew. You know, as lovely bloke as he is, if he's going down that pub for 2 hours, I don't know what's going to walk back through that door. So I thought, I'm just getting out of the way now. I don't want to come back. He could be a right raging lunatic when he comes back. Anyway, that's the end of that. So I will probably see you next week, unless I can think of anything for the weekend to put out, any silliness. But thanks for watching. Thank you all for subscribing. And if any of you are watching that haven't yet subscribed, just hit the subscribe button and you'll see everything I get up to, which hopefully is fairly interesting. I'll try and keep it as interesting as I can. Sometimes it's hard to make something out of nothing, so but we're all doing it, and we all us plasterers and decorators, we're all on here just trying to make a day's work look like something interesting. So when the little stories like that come along and you can make it a bit more interesting, it's like a little gift, really. Anyway, I'm home now. I will see you next week. Have a lovely weekend. The sun's shining, and hopefully you'll all get a bit of it.